All praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashim Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashim Kadash, noble honors to the elders and apostles of Great Stone. Shalom to the elect which in this word in truth and in sincerity, with the hope of receiving mercy for Yahweh, Ba'ashim Yahweh Shai. Yahweh is the name of the Heavenly Father. Yahweh Shai is the name of his only begotten Son. And so upon Negroes this morning, sent Native Americans are the Israelites according to the prophecies that are written in the scriptures. And to make it known that the RFID microchip is the MOTB. The serpent juice is the precursor to the MOTB. Yahweh Shai, whom dwelling in the called Jesus, is about to make his return upon the earth to deliver his elect and to pour out judgment as it is written. So I'm going to go straight into this lesson concerning what took place in China, because, as I said, a lot of events that are transpiring in the world are not reported heavily out here in the West, you know. So this is China, Ying Chun, hit by 11 earthquake in 24 hours. Millions flee roads and rails, basically let me say block up due to jam. Basically let me say block up due to people who are flees out of different regions. But I'm saying a lot of people will look on these extraordinary events and just brush them off, not knowing say all these represent the times that we're in here. Because these things were foretold by prophets that have been before thee, just as Jeremiah the prophet had said. So this is 2 Esdras 9 verse 1. He said, he answered me then and said, measure thou the time diligently in itself. And when thou sayest part of the signs pass, which I have told thee before, then shalt thou understand that it is the very same time wherein the highest will begin to visit the world which he made. So a lot of people will see this and cannot make two and two together that the Lord is visiting the earth that he made. And can't put two and two together. And the Lord even make it more easier and send forth servants to show you what these things represent by the scriptures. Showing like this was written a 4 times, that Yahweh Ba'ashim Shai are going to visit the earth in this fashion. When you read Isaiah 29 verse 6, there are various plagues the Lord said I'm going to use to visit the world with you. Verse 3, therefore, and there shall be seen earthquakes, as I said, the S one it pluralized, an uproar of the people in the world. Then thou shalt well understand that the Most High spake of those things from the days that were before thee, even from the beginning. For like as all that is made in the world, at the beginning and the end is manifest, even so the times also of the highest are plain beginnings in wonders and powerful works, and ended in effects and signs. And these are the signs that we see playing out right now before our eyes. And as Dale Aramlak say, 2025 start off with a bang. And we can see it, You have so much things transpiring now in a short period of time, From terrorist attacks to so-called natural disasters, which are all the hands of Yahweh Shai, to various pestilence. You hear how much outbreak from China. Right now, them are looking on certain bird flu over there in America again. But these are the times that we're in, We have a lot more events. As the year progresses, 2025 is going to be a year, As the elder apostle coined this year, the year of the hopeful year for our deliverance and the destruction and judgment of Esau, Edom.
earthquakes within 24 hours, the strongest measure 4.8 in magnitude. The tremors were also felt in Shanxi and Gansu. Although the magnitudes were not high, the frequent and widespread quakes combined with shallow epicenter led to strong tremors in some areas, causing public panic. There was an earthquake in Incheon twice in one day. It really scared people to tears. If this keeps happening, no one would dare to stay in the buildings. You know how we usually hear about earthquakes happening somewhere else and think it's far from us? But today, it happened twice. Once in the morning and again in the afternoon, a little after 4 p.m. It was terrifying. My first instinct was to run, yelling for my husband and child to run with me. After we got out, I immediately started calling my loved ones to check if they had gotten out too. Social media is filled with footage uploaded by Incheon residents. Large cracks appeared on walls and products were scattered across supermarket floors. Surveillance footage shows employees in some offices rushing outside the moment they felt the quake, creating a tense scene. A company manager recalled that the tremor was intense, causing potted plants and cups to fall to the floor while desks and computers shook violently. Realizing the danger, everyone ran outside immediately. The quake lasted about 8 seconds, but for those who experienced it, those seconds felt like an eternity. One clip shows what happens to be a convenience store. The owner and his son were sitting on the sofa using their phones when the quake struck. The man quickly grabbed his son and ran outside as products tumbled from the shelves. Suddenly he remembered his wife and younger child were still in the room and rushed back. By then his wife had already grabbed the baby and ran out. Despite the shock, the family escaped unharmed. When the earthquake hit Incheon, students were taking the final exams. Upon feeling the tremors, they fled the classrooms in panic. One video that touched many shows a baby sleeping as the quake struck. The headboard began to shake, and in a critical moment, the mother dashed into the room. Driven by instinct, she spread her arms to shield the child with her body. Viewers commented that at that moment, a mother's love shone the brightest. Surveillance footage of the kitchen of a Incheon roast chicken shop captured 3 staff members fleeing during the quake. However, one woman suddenly stopped halfway. Remembering the chicken simmering on the stove, she quickly turned back. In just a few strides, she reached the stove, turned off the fire, and covered the pot before running out again. Viewers were amused and impressed by the video. She risked her life to save the roast chicken, one person commented. Another added, "The quake can wait, but the chicken can't burn." The shop owner was so moved that he awarded the woman a bonus. Let me show you our home after this earthquake. Oh my god, is it poor construction or was this earthquake in Incheon just too strong? Footage shows part of the ceiling collapsed and a long crack running across the roof of one user's home. Another video captured an unusual sight in Incheon on the night of January 2nd. A large flock of crows flew chaotically across the sky.
Look, there's so many crows. Way too many. I've never seen anything like this before. It's terrifying.
In Chinese folklore, crows symbolize death, fear, and misfortune. Many believe that seeing crows is an ominous sign. Some viewers speculated this could be a precursor.
As I say, it's an ominous sign. All these things they say transpire, the weird behavior of birds and various animals around the world. They know something that you know, you don't.
To a larger quake with more casualties. The continuous quakes left Incheon residents fearful. Observers analyzing the depth of the quakes believe there were warnings of a major earthquake. To stay safe, many choose to flee the city with their families and minimal belongings. On the night of January 2nd, millions of Incheon residents began a mass exodus. The streets were packed with vehicles, causing traffic to grind to a halt. Train stations and airports were overwhelmed and highways became gridlocked. Gas stations and supermarkets were crowded, resembling scenes from an apocalyptic movie. Official reassurance and rumors did little to calm the public. Locals reported,
As you have said, anytime you hear people report about the events that are transpiring, them always use biblical phrases, you know, apocalyptic. These are the phrases that they're using. Why? Because we're in the end times, so these events that we see transferring are not. We just say, you know, events that you have ever seen before, you know, record-breaking events.
Good evening. Jihad has come to America again. Shamsuddin Jabbar, good, solid, traditional American name, drove a pickup truck into a crowd of people in New Orleans. 10 people are dead, 35 others are injured. The motive could not be clearer. There was an ISIS flag attached to his vehicle and explosive devices found in and around his car. But it gets worse, I'm afraid.
We do not believe that Jabbar was solely responsible. We are aggressively running down every lead, including those of his known associates.
In fact, in the last few minutes just before I came on air, they think now that maybe there were 2 other men and a woman who might have planted some explosive devices around New Orleans as well. It appears, doesn't it, that there is a jihadi terror network on the run. Look, wake up everybody. ISIS and Al-Qaeda are back in a big way. There was an attack on a Taylor Swift concert that was thwarted. There were threats to Champions League matches. All of the security services are warning us about it. There was the Olympics as well, wasn't there? They've cancelled a major football match in New Orleans. They clearly feel as though something else is coming. And I hate to say this, but I do think it's important to be honest with each other, isn't it? I think clearly something is coming our way too, isn't it? Let's get thoughts from my panel. This evening we are, of course, joined by the wonderful Alice Grant.
So, the events were transfer concerning the man with him vehicle running at the people and isn't it? A lot of people look on these occurrences and in their mind they might try and make or come up with conclusion why the man that do this, isn't it? But we come from the perspective that Yahweh Shimon Shai is the one that do good and evil. He's the one that put various spirit upon you to carry out certain acts. So let's go in the scriptures. So this is Amos 3 verse 6. It reads, shall a trumpet be blown in the city, and the people not be afraid? Shall there be evil in a city, and Yahweh had not done it? And this is the act of evil. But who is bringing these acts to pass? The Lord to their spirits created for vengeance. And that's why even the elder apostle to say, oh brothers, now is not the time to be going to clubs. There's in certain gatherings, certain events, you know. Now is the time to be locked in the spirit. You know. And some might believe that, hey man, but hey man, it's through experience and you can see through the time. Now it's not the time to be all around these people in the world, yo. Because anytime you're about Shai can issue judgment, and you might be caught in the line of fire. When you read I want to say Romans 13 verse 11, because them people that will get run over are supposed to one of these events they were one of these river events. So this is Romans 13 verse 11. And that knowing the time, that now it is high time to awake out of sleep, for now is our salvation nearer than when we believe, and are going toward the prophecies that we're seeing coming into pass before our eyes. Because when the disciples went unto Yahushua at the Mount of Olives, them asked, when shall these things be, and what shall be the sign of thy coming and of the end of the world? And our Lord Yahushua lists out various things What you gonna see? Verse 11. The night is for strength, the day is at hand. Which day? The day of the Lord, yeah? That great and terrible day. Let us therefore cast off the works of darkness, which mean the ways of this world, and let us put on the armor of light, which is having faith in the words that were written aforetime for our learning, which is these scriptures, yo, through the Holy Spirit. Verse 13, let us walk honestly as in the day, not in rioting. And this is exactly what the people, they were out there doing. Rioting and drunkenness, not in chambering and wantonness, not in strife and envy. But put ye on the Lord Yahushua Mashiach, and made not provision for the flesh to fulfill the lust thereof. And that way they were out there doing, fulfilling their lust thereof, yo. And this is the end of it. To the world, this is a tragic story.
Of course, joined by the wonderful Alice Grant, we've got Emma Wolf, and we've got Samuel Swig. Can I just say a very, very happy new year to all of you? I do thank you very much for joining us this evening. Emma,
So read this with me. Riot across Africa target Chinese armored vehicle. There's a given by China used to loot Chinese shops.
Around Christmas this year, violent mobs rampaged through Maputo, the capital of Mozambique. Chinese-owned supermarkets were the first to suffer. An armored vehicle, originally provided by China to help maintain stability, was hijacked and used to ram open the gates of Chinese shops. The two-story metal shutters crashed down with sharp screams and frenzied curses filling the air. Store after store was ransacked. Everything in sight, from rice to televisions, sound systems to general goods, were looted. In just a few hours, several large Chinese supermarkets in the city center, with inventory worth millions of yuan, were completely emptied. The looting didn't stop there. Shops were set on fire, with thick smoke billowing from the scenes captured in videos. The China-Mozambique Agricultural Technology Center, part of an official cooperation project, was also vandalized. Protesters claimed it symbolized corrupt deals and destroyed whatever they could. If it could be torn down or burned, they did it. Their goal was to humiliate the current Mozambican government. Whether there are masterminds or conspiracies fueling the violence, it remains unclear. But one thing is certain: anti-Chinese sentiment has spread, and the government forces were unable to control the situation. In the first few days, the riots were concentrated in major cities like Maputo, but by December 27, the violence had spread to surrounding towns. More and more areas were caught in the chaos of looting, arson, and violence. In remote areas, police forces were already understaffed and poorly equipped. Now, officers could only defend police stations and had no capacity to patrol. As a result, once peaceful towns descended into disaster. By the time the government realized the severity of the situation, troops were hastily deployed. But even the military struggled to deal with the masked mobile riders. Criminal gangs seized the opportunity, looting supplies and setting factories ablaze under the banner of anti-government protests. One group even stormed a prison, freeing 150 inmates by force. The trigger for these riots was Mozambique's recent elections. The ruling Mozambique Democratic Socialist Party, Frelimo, pulled out all the stops to maintain its grip on power. Allegations of backroom deals and electoral fraud were rampant. On December 23rd, Mozambique's Constitutional Council officially announced that Frelimo's candidate, Daniel Chapo, won with 65% of the vote. This ensured the long-standing ruling party, in power for half a century.
So as you can see, you have a lot of events transpiring around the world, yo. A lot of signs that are playing out day by day. Because we have said countless times, people are not aware of what these things represent, what these things truly mean, yo. This is uproar of the people in the world. As it is written in 2 verse 9, measure the time what? Diligently in itself. Now is the time to be aware. Now is the time to be circumspect, as the scripture has said. Is not being fooled. A matter of fact, let's get that precept. This is Ephesians 5 verse 14. And it read, wherefore he said, awake thou that sleepest, and arise from the dead, and a Mashiach shall give thee light. And dead mean a state of ignorance, yo. And the light represent the true knowledge of Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushua. See then that we walk circumspectly, not as fools, but as wise, redeeming the time, because the days are evil. And it is evident, if you can't see, that the days are evil. But if you want more signs, Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushua will give them in the form of dead bodies. Verse 17, wherefore be ye not unwise, but understanding what the will of the Lord is, and be not drunk with wine wherein is excess, but be filled with the Spirit. And that's the mindset that's supposed to be now, drawing closer to Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushua. The darker the world become, the closer it's supposed to be drawn to Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushua. As is written, this is the condemnation, for light have come into the world, and men love darkness rather than light. And it is very evident here. So this is edifying the Dada Manisei Kalalal, Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushua, Ba'ashim Makal Kodesh. Shalom.